Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, before I start off, guys, I want to say I've got the address of the Hong Kong Heritage Museum and the email. Now, if you want to get in touch with the Heritage Museum in hope that we can get the documentary by Taki Yeung, The Brilliant Life of Bruce Lee, released to the general public, the address, if you're going to write them a letter, is the Hong Kong Heritage Museum, 1 Man Lam Road, Sha Tin, Hong Kong. And I will put that address and I will put the email address in the description to this video. I've already sent them an email today. Also, the next bit of news, Steve Kerridge is back from Thailand and he's been in touch with me today. We've had a little catch up and I'll be doing an interview with Steve over the next couple of weeks. We just got to pin down a day really. So if there's anything you particularly want me to ask Steve, drop me in the comments down below and I will actually put a post out sometime in the week so you can write it in there and I will pick out what I think would be interesting to ask him, and I've got a few myself anyway. So that's great news, so the interview won't be too long now. Right, this is my Saturday morning comments video. Right, as you know guys, the last video I put out was that brilliant rare item from the Budgie 29. He gave me the really rare double album of the soundtrack to Enter the Dragon, and I replied to pretty much all of your comments on there. But it did get me thinking, you know, we do like our soundtracks and we would like the Big Boss, Fist of Fury and The Way of the Dragon, the Joseph Koo soundtracks, remastered and re-released. But also another one I would like to see is the 1984 documentary Bruce Lee the Legend. I don't know why it's not been released as a soundtrack. Now, we know that when Arrow done the Final Game of Death documentary, at the beginning of their version of the edit, it used Joseph Koo's music that was the beginning of Bruce Lee the Legend, and it doesn't have the whack. So if anyone who remembers Bruce Lee the Legend, well, that's omitted from the Final Game of Death. So they obviously had access to that particular piece of music. I personally would love the whole soundtrack on record or even CD. That would be great. I often use some of the music from Bruce Lee the Legend, and if you type in Bruce Lee the Legend soundtrack, there is some on YouTube. Not great quality, but does anyone know why it's never been released? I would love to see that one out there. Anyway, let's get on with some of your comments, right? And these comments are on the Kung Fu Monthlies. You know, the Kung Fu Monthlies. I got 5 sent to me by Marty Shell, great friend to the channel, nice guy. And the first one is from Balds Don't Hit Back. What a brilliant name. And he said this: you probably already know this, but if I remember correctly, Lalo Schifrin did the original score for The Exorcist. I can't imagine The Exorcist without Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells. Same year as Enter the Dragon. But when William Friedkin heard it, he went nuts and kicked Lalo Schifrin off the project, stating it was not what he wanted. I didn't know that. Also, I seem to remember that Kung Fu Monthly were forced to change the logo of Bruce Lee's silhouette to make his left arm point down for trademark copyright reasons. I think the Kung Fu Monthly #1 with the left arm pointing up is more valuable. I may be misremembering though. It was so long ago. Lol. #1 does have his arm facing upwards as opposed to downwards. Today was on the copyright stuff many years ago. Anyway, appreciate your comment, mate. Thank you very much. Right, the next one is from Professor Echo Media. And he said this: definitely go for the archives. I'll be picking those up at the Rise of the Dragon event for sure. But that will be fast fulfilled and not leave you with a lot of video potential. So, while I hate to be an enabler and incur the lovely Mrs. Stripe's wrath, tracking down the individual issues will be fun for both you and us faithful viewers. Go for it. I did actually think to myself collecting them would make some interesting content for the channel, so I did that with the Beatles vinyls when I was collecting every Beatles vinyl from D'Agostini, and it was like a journey that I took everyone on with me. But I do also know some of them Kung Fu monthlies are quite rare now, so I don't know if I would actually be able to complete the collection. But I am going to have a go, I think. Anyway, I appreciate your comment, mate. Thank you very much. Right. These three last comments are from Enter the Dragon, the most overrated Kung Fu movie ever video that I made. Can you believe I'm still getting comments on that? And the first one is from Victor DS Man. And he wrote this. They had Roper fighting Bolo because they were being politically correct. They had Lee, a Chinese guy, beating up Bob Wall, a white guy. So, to even it up, they had Roper, a white guy, beating back a Chinese guy, Bolo. Nobody is offended. I'm not sure. Were films politically correct in the 1970s? I don't think they were. When you think of Dirty Harry, all the video nasties, I Spit on Your Grave, I don't think films were politically correct back then. But I could be wrong. But thanks for your comment, mate. I did appreciate it. Right. This next comment is from Real Ruddy 7880. And he wrote this. I've never picked Enter the Dragon apart, but the article is not entirely wrong. Some of the topics covered have been reported on over the past 50 years in terms of what they wanted to do as opposed to what they ended up doing. My two biggest issues with Enter the Dragon was the corny blaxploitation lines of Jim Kelly.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
I personally love some of Jim's lines in the film.
Are you shocked, Mr. Williams?
Only at how sloppy your man works.
And the horrible karate of John Saxon. It wasn't that bad. Having said that, I did hear that Bruce wanted Jim Kelly to play the role of John Saxon, which would have been the right move, as Jim was a real martial artist, but John had more credentials as an actor as opposed to Jim, who had none. Having said that, my two biggest gripes were Saxon's horrible karate and Jim's corny lines. Other than that, Enter the Dragon is not only my favourite martial arts movie of all time, but my favourite movie of all time. Multicultural cast and multicultural production crew pose unique challenges, but they made it work. The film does work, and I put it down to Bruce Lee. I really do. And that film changed the world. Like we've all said before, in the 1970s, everybody was kung fu fighting. Appreciate your comment, mate. Thank you very much. And finally, I got a comment from, again, Scott Hillinger 4684. And Scott wrote this. For a guy who seems to consider himself a Bruce Lee fan, Mr. Brambles.
You talking to me?
He's calling me Mr. Brambles again. You surely do seem to have an idiotic idea regarding the best martial arts movie ever made. Enter the Dragon? Overrated? Enter the Dragon? Nah, not in the least. You clearly didn't watch my video. I don't even know why I'm giving you any airtime. I'm not going to reply to your comments. You're just obviously a fool. I don't know what to do with people like that. He obviously doesn't realise that I made a video disagreeing with the article that Enter the Dragon was the most overrated kung fu movie ever made, but some people you just can't help. So I would say thanks for your comment. I'm probably not going to. Right, so that's all I've got time for today, guys. Now, before I go, I better let you know we're changing our internet provider over. We're going from Virgin Media to someone else, and we did have a crossover period, but there's been a cock up, and it looks like from Sunday, possibly till Tuesday, Wednesday, I might not have internet. So if I don't upload next week, I'll be doing posts on my phone, but if I don't upload next week, at the beginning anyway, you know why. I thought I'd just give you the heads up. I've been trying to put out regular content, trying to be a bit more consistent recently, but this one's out of my hands, and it would be great if I could film videos and edit them, but because Adobe is all subscription based now, I don't even think it'll work. I don't think I'll be able to do any editing unless I'm connected to the internet. So I don't know how it's going to work, but bear with me. As soon as it's back on, I've got plenty of videos in the pipeline to do. Right, so as always, thank you to everybody who comments on the videos, my wonderful subscribers, people that has given us a thumbs up, and of course my patrons. You guys are amazing. Have a brilliant weekend, guys. Much love, and I'll be back with another ramble real soon. You take care of yourselves now.